everybody, and welcome back to the Blossom Review. How are you? Since we're celebrating Valentine's Day tomorrow and we've already talked about rom-com K-dramas here, I thought that today we could talk about 5 romantic Japanese dramas that you should definitely watch. So what I did was I chose 5 of my favorite romantic Japanese dramas. They are not excessively romantic, but I think most importantly, they offer this wholesome experience that makes you feel happy and warm inside. So let's start with our first show. Our first J-drama is Nodame Cantabile, which is an adaptation of the manga of the same name by Ninomiya Tomoko. Before we start, a very quick disclaimer. Nodame Cantabile is a beloved classic that was added to Netflix just a few days ago, so we just had to talk about it. But Nodame Cantabile is your typical noughties live-action adaptation, and that means that its comedy is very anime-like or manga-like. What does that mean, Karen? That means that humor in the show is often connected to cartoonish violence, wacky characterization, and slapstick comedy. If this is not your cup of tea, not a problem. We're just gonna review the show and you can watch the other 4 shows. But yeah, it's not a problem. But if you don't feel like watching it, it's not your cup of tea. Some people say that the show didn't age that well, but I think there are positives about Nodame Cantabile, and that's why we are talking about it today. So the story follows Nodame, played by Ueno Judy. Nodame is a talented piano student, but she's very messy and she has some, let's say, childish habits, so to say. For example, she doesn't have showers often, or she steals her friends' snacks, so she's a little bit crazy, let's say. And then she meets the arrogant Chiaki Shinichi, played by Tamaki Hiroshi, who is a musical genius who wants to become a conductor. Even though Chiaki is not really interested in Nodame, Nodame soon falls in love with him. And eventually they pair up and become part of this student orchestra in which you have this group of very, very skilled classical musicians who share their love, their passion for music. Now, the question is, why is Nodame Cantabile such a beloved show? Nodame Cantabile is chaotic, yes, but it's completely heartwarming. The show offers this perfectly paced narrative, neatly divided into arcs that are constantly pushing its characters and consequently us forward. So something is always happening in Nodame's world, and we're taken along on this crazy ride. And as we go, we learn about the characters' vulnerabilities and we watch them grow. I think besides the excellent use of music in the show, so music is used in the show as an active character, let's say, in the narrative. But besides this excellent use of music, I think Nodame Cantabile excels at character development. So the narrative is always giving the characters different challenges that are used to help them learn about themselves and about others. With classical music, romance, drama, and comedy all seamlessly woven into a single narrative of self-discovery and pursuit of one's dreams, Nodame Cantabile offers this group of very unique but somehow relatable characters that are full of passion and hope and joy. So you see them go against convention and create their own little musical universe. And I think as they use music to learn about themselves and to share their own stories. This whole process helps them face their fears and encourage one another to be more than they are today. Nodame Cantabile is so reliant on humor, so silly at times, that it's a bit strange to realize how meaningful and touching the show can be. I think the second half of the show especially is permeated by these very deep and mature exchanges. I think most importantly, Nodame Cantabile is a show that portrays a group of eccentric but honestly good people who embrace the power that music has to bring people together. They embrace the ability that music has to express our innermost emotions. I think the show brings out this joy of creating something that is bigger than yourself, and they share this bliss that the characters feel with its audience, which makes for a very entertaining and very, very satisfying watch. Number 2 is Pretty Proofreader, aka Jiminy Sugoi, which is an adaptation of Miyagi Ayako's novel of the same name. Here we meet Kono Etsuko, played by Ishihara Satomi. Etsuko is a 28-year-old woman who dreams of becoming a fashion editor at her favorite magazine. So she joins this publishing company determined to build her career in the fashion department. But she is assigned to the proofreading office instead. So despite her initial disappointment, Etsuko decides to dedicate herself to this new challenge. So we observe Etsuko's new adventure at the proofreading department. We can say that Pretty Proofreader is more of a slice of life work dramedy than a rom-com per se, but this show is just so inspiring, and it offers you this undeniably comforting experience, and that's why I decided to add it here today, because guys, just watch Pretty Proofreader, really. Etsuko is a well-rounded, extremely likable heroine who inspires the characters around her as much as she inspires us, the audience. She has this very bubbly personality and a very clear set of values that she never lets anything or anyone take away from her. She's beautiful and funny, she's resolute and thoughtful, she is smart and silly, she is a bit of everything, which makes for this very humane character. And of course, just like any other human out there, Etsuko also makes mistakes and she has her own misconceptions. But Etsuko, what is important about Etsuko is that she never shies away from learning, she never shies away from growing. Even though she's very confident with her own self, she knows that we can all change and improve. Etsuko embraces her own quirks, her own needs, her own desires. She is very proud of who she is, which is a marvel to watch in and of itself. But most importantly, Etsuko respects the people around her and she respects their unique personalities. She understands that there are things that, she doesn't know and that she can learn from others. And she knows that you should do your best regardless of where you are, who you're with, or what you're doing, and that's the heart of Pretty Proofreader. The narrative is well structured and well paced, counting on the right amount of comedy, just a dash of romance, and a ton of wholesome moments that fill your heart with joy. The plot never relies on unnecessary drama and instead offers a group of reasonable and relatable characters in this very light-hearted, uplifting tale that progresses very naturally and reaches a very organic conclusion. Very organic and very mature conclusion. I think this is important to mention. Everybody behaves as adults in the show, which is lovely to watch. Romantic relationships in Pretty Proofreader are very healthy and very supportive, and that extends to all other relationships in the show. I think what is important about Pretty Proofreader is the show not only portrays this very healthy romantic relationship, but also I think emphasizes the power of teamwork and the beauty of friendship too. But identity and human connection, I think, are just one side of Pretty Proofreader. Because with an encouraging heroine and this wonderful ensemble, Pretty Proofreader reminds us that everyone matters. That's why we should always work with pride and dedication, because no matter how small our actions may seem, they matter, they carry meaning. So Pretty Proofreader, I think, reminds us at the end of the day that whether your work shines in the glamorous spotlight or remains hidden backstage, it matters a great deal. Our next show is one that I love so ridiculously much that I can talk about it for hours on end. We are talking about The Full-Time Wife Escapist, also called We Married as a Job, or the original title Nigeru wa Haji daga Yakunitatsu, which is an adaptation of Umino Tsunami's manga of the same name. So, Moriyama Mikuri, played by Aragaki Yui, is a 25-year-old graduate who has been struggling to secure a full-time job. Then her parents encourage her to work as a housekeeper for 35-year-old bachelor Tsuzaki Hiramasa, played by Hoshino Gen, while she's in between jobs. She starts working for him, she likes it, she's happy, but then she's suddenly forced to move to the countryside. So she has two options, either to move to the countryside with her parents or to become a full-time housekeeper for Tsuzaki. So to make that work, they agree to enter a contract marriage. The Full-Time Wife Escapist was this huge hit in Japan when it came out, and it's easy to see why. Oh, because Koi is a very, very addictive song. Yes, but not just because of that. So, because The Full-Time Wife Escapist talks about all of us, our strengths, our weaknesses, our struggles, with a forward-thinking, inclusive narrative that is both hilarious and moving. A superficial look will tell you that The Full-Time Wife Escapist is based on a very simple premise, relying on the well-known contract marriage trope. Yes, but The Full-Time Wife Escapist is so much more than that. The Full-Time Wife Escapist is a flawlessly crafted series that counts on a multi-layered narrative, complex characters, and biting social commentary. I think Mikuri and Hiramasa's reality is so bright and so tangible thanks to this incredible cast, this well-paced script, excellent character arcs, and very meaningful and very engaging storytelling. Mikuri's tale starts with how work, or the ability to find work, the ability to keep working in the society where we live, is intrinsically connected to our sense of worth and our sense of self. From there, the script expands this theme to embrace the human desire to be needed by others, to be chosen, and to be appreciated for who we are. This theme is explored with profound awareness, profound empathy, but then it gradually becomes intertwined with all the complexities of everyday life. Nothing, absolutely nothing escapes the eyes of this script. So from the struggles of young people entering the job market to establish gender roles, from sexuality to the role of marriage, from the prejudices that we all face, to the determination we ought to muster to be who we want to be, this show has it all. And women in the Full-Time Wife Escapist are powerful beings, and they come in all shapes and sizes, young and old, married and single, employed and unemployed, mothers or not. They never shy away from bravely facing a society that constantly tells them what they can do, where they should go, and how they should behave. Starting with Mikuri, women in the Full-Time Wife Escapist want to design their own lives and their own selves, and they will find the means to achieve their goals, even if that means bending the rules and traditions that society imposes on them all the time. And then the series also explores this colorful range of relationships that surrounds us: romantic, platonic, working relationships, familiar relationships, which not only makes for a very relatable watch, but also gives a script a range of dynamics, character dynamics to work with. The show paints the world in all its diversity, in all its beauty, but it also in all its ugliness too. So every single episode raises a different question. What does the institution of marriage even mean? Or do our efforts even matter if no one appreciates them? Why are women expected to be like this or that? Why are men expected to be like this or that? So the characters, you see the characters evolving bit by bit and facing their own prejudices, their own preconceived notions, and growing out of their shells. And that makes for such a satisfying watch. Even though the Full-Time Wife Escapist explores and discusses all these vital themes to modern society, it offers this very light-hearted, very earnest delivery that never allows the show to become too intense or too heavy. The show makes excellent use of pop references throughout. It has its own style. The show has its own personality, and the comedy is always on point. I think Hoshinogen has excellent comic timing, and the main couple, the main couple is just a pleasure to watch, really. I think their relationship is based on mutual respect and this constant desire to grow, which makes us, I think, reevaluate our own relationships. So it's very inspiring to watch them grow and evolve together. I think that more than just an entertaining rom-com, The Full-Time Wife Escapist is an exploration of society and its institutions, of capitalism, of sexuality, and of identity. The show is whimsical, is witty, is profoundly empathetic, and I think it inspires us to design and redesign our own realities. Then number 4 is Overprotected Kahoko, also called Kahoko no Kahoko, and it's an original Nippon TV story. So the show introduces us to 21-year-old Nemoto Kahoko, played by Takahata Mitsuki. Kahoko is a naive university student, and her mother does absolutely everything for her, to the point that she's never even chosen her own outfits. Then one day she meets Mugino Hajime, played by Takeuchi Ryoma, a young man who aspires to become a painter. Unlike Kahoko, Hajime has only ever had himself to rely on. So you have this encounter of two completely different backgrounds and two completely different personalities. And this encounter might show both Kahoko and Hajime a completely different life. So Overprotected Kahoko is less of a rom-com about romantic love and more of a rom-com about family, about growing up, and about parenting, really. Not your, I think Overprotected Kahoko is not your run-of-the-mill sort of romance. And I think that's what makes it so special. Kahoko is a very unique female lead. She possesses this childlike innocence and awkwardness that is difficult to portray, but most importantly, it's very difficult to use that sort of personality as a foundation for a love story between two adults. But Overprotected Kahoko works, and it works for several reasons. First, Kahoko comes alive thanks to Takahata Mitsuki, an exceptional actress who delivers this unforgettable performance in this show. Takahata's portrayal of Kahoko is almost magical. Her expressions, her gestures, her responses are so flawlessly authentic and so endlessly charming that you can't help but love and root for this very eccentric young woman. Second, we are introduced to the reason why Kahoko is so naive from the very beginning. So from the very first episode, you understand that her mother overprotected her, raised her in this happy and comfortable bubble, and gave her absolutely everything she wanted and needed on a silver platter. So once Kahoko steps out of this bubble, she realizes that, okay, the bubble is a huge privilege, yes, but this privilege strips her from her sense of freedom and her sense of self. So the audience is soon presented with a question: can Kahoko achieve her freedom? Or better yet, does Kahoko want to leave that comfortable and safe bubble to face the cold and complicated world that awaits her? And that's the dramatic question of the show, and that's where the show starts. And this is important because the show is not only dealing with internal conflict or interpersonal conflict, we are dealing with different kinds of conflict throughout the show. And this is where Overprotected Kahoko excels. Characterization. Kahoko is a multifaceted heroine whose immaturity is balanced with a spirit whose kindness, optimism, tenacity, and willingness to grow know no bounds. So you see that Kahoko wants to know more, she wants to learn more, she wants to be more. And I think that connects to the third reason why Overprotected Kahoko works. Kahoko is who she is because of the unwavering love that she's received from her family. And once she meets Hajime, Kahoko realizes that the love that she received from her family, that love is actually the greatest privilege a person can ask for. Family is the beating heart of Overprotected Kahoko. Kahoko's family may be a bit unique, they may bicker, but they love each other constantly and dearly, and they make for the backbone of this story, which is then developed with ordinary challenges that the characters face and solve in a very rewarding way. So the story is very well paced, very well structured, very well crafted, and the story, the narrative itself blossoms in the same way that the protagonist does, which is lovely to watch. And I think we need to mention that the romance between Kahoko and Hajime is one of the most adorable things you ever watch. So Overprotected Kahoko is a show that just makes your day a lot brighter and a lot happier. So Overprotected Kahoko, absolutely must watch. Last but not least, we have Why I Dress Up for Love, aka Kikazaru Koi ni wa Ryu ga Atte, a TBS original. So Kawaguchi Haruna is Mashiba Kurumi, a busy publicist at a popular interior design company. After she forgets to renew her lease contract, her friend finds her a place to stay. A luxury apartment in this lovely neighborhood, but there is a catch. She needs to share the apartment with other people that she's never met before. So she moves into this apartment and she starts living with the minimalist chef Fujimi Shun, played by Yokohama Ryusei, online counselor Terai Haruto, played by Maruyama Ryuhei, and artist Hase Ayaka, played by Nakamura Ane. So these completely different personalities are going to help Kurumi live a life that she can really call her own. Why I Dress Up for Love is a light-hearted, relatable, and encouraging series that offers no heavy themes, no big twists, no overly dramatic storylines, but just wins your heart nonetheless. Featuring an ensemble cast, Why I Dress Up for Love counts on a group of very talented and very charismatic actors whose characters develop bonds of trust, care, respect, and support. So Kurumi and the people around Kurumi, they are a very mature bunch who can communicate and sympathize with each other. That results in a very well-written story in which the characters progress at a constant pace and in which the conflicts are never dragged and they are dealt with and solved in a very sensible way instead. With a good dose of realism, positivity, and just a dash of social commentary, Why I Dress Up for Love paints reality in warm colors and heartfelt conversations. The individual, their friendships, and their romances, they are all equally important for the show and they receive equal amounts of attention, let's say. All characters have their strengths and weaknesses and it's just cathartic for us as the audience to see them helping each other to face their vulnerabilities and encouraging each other to be better people. I think Why I Dress Up for Love is special because the show reminds us that life isn't perfect. And we aren't perfect either, and that's okay. We are enough, and it's beautiful to be just who you want to be. I think the show reminds us that the path towards our dreams is full of ups and downs, and it's the same for everybody. So we're not alone in this battle. The show also reminds us that we should feel comfortable in our own company, that we shouldn't be afraid of changing course if needed. And I think most importantly, it reminds us to cherish the people around us that keep us going no matter what. So it's a very, very heartfelt show, I think. So it's not only heartfelt, but a very healing, a very cheerful and a very sweet story with a nice dose of romance that is definitely worth a watch. So Why I Dress Up for Love, guys. That's our 5th show of the day. And well, most of these shows were so successful when they came out in Japan that they were followed by specials, by films, and by a bunch of remakes. So if you wanted to read our complete review and learn more about all these shows, make sure to check our post on the Blossom review. I will leave the link in the comments. In the description. But in the comments, please let me know what are your favorite romantic Japanese dramas. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I hope you liked the video and I hope you subscribe so I can see you here next Thursday for another review or another bunch of reviews. Well, I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy your day tomorrow and have a lovely weekend. I'll see you very, very soon.